All right. So I just got over my cold. Slight irritation around my eyes. I'll probably go see my dad about that. But yeah, I wanted to cover some of these servants before they went away. Mostly because I haven't talked about them in well over the year. Besides the tier list. The tier list always makes it harder for me to remember what servants I actually covered or not in like more in-depth detail than like 5 minutes running through. So Juna, Li Shuan, and Cleo for a different reason, but like the same reason. I'm gonna let those videos out now since I just have the time right now. So first off, Juna can do buster farming right now. With Summer Chloe coming out, you have the option. It's up to you whether you go that strategy. If you have Summer Chloe like bond level 10, you have that extra 10% to start with. Oh wait, no, you need to be you need to be popping that like turn 1. My bad. You're able to do it. It's just not the cleanest method. Right now, like as long as you're AOE, you kind of can do buster farming at this point on JP. So not on NA yet, but very soon on JP. First off, his base attack is good. It is not low. It is 12.3. That is a very, very healthy number to start with. The midpoint is like 11.5, so 12.3, looking good. HP, he's actually got pretty low HP, like surprisingly. Like for an archer, this is low. It's like not the lowest, but it isn't that high either. He does have a lot of like stuff in his kit though that it makes it, as long as he's not getting one shot, he's kinda all right. Star weight, star gen, normal buster number or archer number. Sorry, it's just in my head that he's a buster unit. MP charge 0.51. His hit, he has a triple art stack, which is why his MP gain is the way it is. It's convenient, but it's awkward because he's a buster unit that can't do brave buster brave chains and is like reliant on his supports to be able to give him that extra buster card for it. It makes his mana burst feel way worse. Like literally, like if you don't have the MP, like don't press it. It's not worth it. Only one buster card, not even for a buster brave chain, it's not worth. They need to buff his third skill, but I'm just saying that right now. 3% charge as his archers, and the hits themselves I don't have an issue with. It's more how often are you critting on these cards, because yes, he is buster, he works with Vitch, he works with Oberon, but like it's gonna be a lot harder to get the stars on these arts cards than it is on this one buster card. Like this one buster card, if you get it, it's set, it should be critting no matter what. But these arts cards, you don't have star weight for it. You have to rely on his natural star weight. And if you have a buster card in there, good luck. That buster card is eating all of the stars. So first skill has been buffed for a good while. In allude to, I assume that's a good while ago. Double check. This should be like an early game. Yeah, no, this is one of the first buffs ever added to the game. Holy shit. And at least they had like good, like future sustained value for this guy, because like they made this, first off, like it was 36%. This is what Emiya originally had on his skill, and then they buffed that because they realized that this is a shit skill. Like star gen by itself is not worthy of this cooldown. They gave him 5 turns of debuff immunity on a 6-turn cooldown. There is only 1 turn he can be debuffed unless he's fighting buff removal. For so many bosses, this is a godsend. The only problem is his damage is not good sustain. It really isn't. Like This on pretty much any other DPS would just be amazing. It's just him specifically, he doesn't want to be around bosses. Like he isn't your first choice to bosses that would be doing that type of stuff. That's the issue. He has a niche. He's just not able to use it almost ever. Again, I really like the uptime on this. This is amazing uptime for Demo community, because usually it's 3 times, up for 3 turns, down for 3 turns, and that's usually on the good end. At least I think it's down for the cooldown is 6. I'm trying to think, like right now I'm thinking Da Vinci Rider, and I could have sworn that skill was up for 3, down for 2, but it might actually be up where yeah, misspoke. I thought it was up for 3, down for 3, but it might actually be up for 3, down for 2. Let's double check. She Rider. No, yeah, it is up for 3, down for 3, and Da Vinci Rider is usually like the best shining example of like uptime like that. So his like skill's good, it just doesn't fit him. Second skill has been buffed, but this was a lot more and it has this and has had this for over a year. So it takes this 25% battery, which by itself is awkward as shit. Arna had this and they just buffed this. But besides the 25% battery, he healed 2,000 per turn and dropped 8 stars. This was on a 10-turn cooldown though. It's good, but that uptime isn't good at all. So first, they reduced the cooldown of this skill by 2. The difference between you having the skill level 1 and level 10. They reduced this skill's cooldown. Awesome. They didn't change the normal effects though. But like up for 5, down for 3 is a much better sell. It is so much better to try to sell that to people than up for 5, down for 5. Because he is supposed to be a sustained DPS. He's supposed to be doing decent damage over time, not really bursting people down in a challenge quest. This screams challenge quest. This is very good value. The stars, not so much. That could have used a little buff. But this is still good value. Like, pair this with Merlin, and he's healing for 3,000 per turn on the same cooldown as Merlin's MP. So honestly, like, you pair him with Merlin and you're just like, Merlin's MP will just feel better. You'll get more stars. Juno will heal more. Yeah, if you're fighting like a Saber boss, he's not dying when you like run him with like double Merlin. He shouldn't be dying. Also, the nice part about this is they added charge return, which again is a quasi Merlin effect. It will really help spam the MP, especially with arch chains, because if he's run, I'm pretty sure he was built to be run with like double Merlin in mind, just because of like how many arts cards you'd be having, like the amount of buster. It's good synergy, but like Juna came out long before Merlin, like at least a couple months before him. And then like nothing else, like Merlin's fallen out of the meta. Like the way his kit functions doesn't work anymore. Like they really do need to just update. They need to work on his third skill and make it more modern, because like everything else is working. If they want a buster unit that works specifically well with Merlin over Fitch or Oberon, that is 100% fine. But just make it so that it actually works with Merlin and is not solely relying on Merlin for damage. Because Juno right now with this third skill relies on Merlin or his supports to give him damage, not himself. Buster buff for one turn, MP damage for 1 turn. On other units, this would be fine, but he only has the 1 buster card. If you don't have the MP, this is a literal waste, because you probably don't have the buster card either. You're not paying attention. You're literally gonna waste. You're just gonna waste like damage. There is no survivability on this. It is raw damage, and this kind of skill has fallen out of the wayside. Now, if they were to buff this now, they would make this 3 turns across the board. They would. They've done that for multiple units at this point. And that honestly is what he needs. He needs this buster buff to be 3 turns. A, so it could also be stacked with bitch, just in case you do want to use them for farming. That's number 1. Number 2, it will just make the kit function better. It's not gonna, like, you have to really work for him to MP every single turn. You have to have the amount of battery for it. He's not passively regenning it. What would be really crazy is if they made this just like, oh no, I don't want to make up numbers that I don't think are reasonable. Like making this all this 3 turns, I think that's as far as they'll go. This isn't a 50 mana burst on top of this MP damage. It is sharing the 50 total, which isn't how the math in this game works, by the way. Making this 3 turns isn't the biggest deal. He only gets the 1 buster card. So basically, only if he's MPing does he get like any kind of bonuses. Let him have decent damage. Just let him have decent damage. That's what we're asking. Passive skills: Magic Resist C, 15% debuff resistance, Independent Action A for crit damage, and Divinity to people doesn't do much. So these 2 appends, very, very good. Anti-Berserker, always good, no matter what the class is, unless they're another Berserker, which is impossible because Berserkers can't get extra damage. So literally every class that has this mod just gets free damage. Mana loading on him. Could you get it? So it really depends on if you are trying to start from 50. If you try to start from 50, you run into issues with the battery. And remember, this is an 8-turn cooldown battery. You are not likely to get this back. So you have to come up with other ways to get batteries. Summer Chloe is probably the best way to get a battery back and still be able to start from 60% instead of with a K-scope, meaning slightly better damage, but you don't get cranky. That 5% fucking sucks. Now, if you were able to find a way around that with Summer Chloe, cool, but you're gonna come into restrictions because he only has a 25% battery. Oberon only isn't gonna give that much. Unless he's getting some kind of charge return from somewhere else. Not gonna see it. Gonna need Summer Chloe for farming for him with a decent CE. Because like no matter what, even in like normal, like the reason he can't do double Vitch is again because of this 25%, but also because his charge return, he would have had to already pop the battery before to even have this. He's not getting it back like Sith. He's not built like Sith. Kind of similar in mind because of the long duration, like the regeneration buffs. Like these regeneration buffs, but Sith just does it way better. Yeah, like I would say Summer Bobbensey does this kind of gameplay way better because most of it just comes from her MP, not from a skill. These 2 combined just make the battery awkward. So yeah, if you again, he can do farming. You just have to put in way more work for it, and it's not going to be your ideal setup. Here's okay, so yeah. So here is another big issue with him. He insta kills on his MP, which is okay. But see, that's his whole gimmick. His overcharge isn't that high. So if you're not fighting divine enemies, you're not insta killing. And if you're not fighting, and if you're fighting divine servants, good luck insta killing. In all my gameplay, it has only happened once where I actually insta killed a servant, and I laughed my ass off about that because it was in a challenge quest too. I think I was using Summer Kiara. One time I was able to insta-kill Servant. That's how unlikely it is for you to do it. For the AI, it happens all the goddamn time, and you're just gonna be frustrating when you're fighting an insta-kill boss. Unless you have someone that can mitigate it like Aresh. Like, his MP isn't good at doing what it's supposed to. You're on it, like, I want, and also this is like this is even earlier. Like, he had this MP buff from the get-go, and then in the first campaign they buffed him. That is telling. This buff came way, way, way too early. They gave him extra damage and a higher chance to insta-kill. Because before, it was useless. At the start of the game, it was useless, like John's MP. Although I think they added, like, removed the stun even later. Fonzie, MP damage, 1,000 star weight. Now, okay, so, like, this is one of the most impactful Fonzies. Like, he needs the star weight. That is so critical for his gameplay for Refund. He has triple arts. He needs this star weight, but he doesn't make nearly as many stars as he needs. He is so heavily reliant on his supports, and that goes back to him being built with probably double Merlin in mind, or Merlin being built around him and trying to make him better. Doesn't work the way we want. Yuna is permanent. You should not be rolling specifically for him. Unless you really like the character, he is not that good compared to other 5 stars. If you're comparing to like 4 stars, obviously he's going to be better. I am not going to sit here and say that. Okay, I need a nice good comparison. I am not here to tell you that okay, yeah. Okay, yeah. I am not okay, no, Gil is I'm trying to get a good comparison for this shit. Like Arash, like you shouldn't be using Arash instead of Arjuna, but like you use Arash differently. Like you guys know what I'm trying to do with this comparison. Okay, here we go. I am not trying to tell you use Oda Nobunaga, like the 4-star version of her, over Juna. That is not what I'm saying. Juna spits on Nobunaga and can actually do farming. While Nobu, like, when it's time to bring out Nobu, you know when to bring out Nobu. Which, Divine, but Juna doesn't have Divine Power mod. He insta-kills. Juna barely can be considered having a Divine niche. It is probably the most useless niches in the entire game. He honestly probably does need 2 buffs. I'm not gonna lie. Like this doesn't work in the current meta, and this MP buff sucks so hard. It's a damn. No, honestly, because if it was an arts MP, it probably would have more hits, and this insta-kill isn't proccing first, so it actually probably would have been okay. Is that like his MP probably would have been okay? Yeah, chat. He probably would have been better if he had an arts MP, but I think they made him Buster because of Perna. I truly think that's the only reason they made him Buster. There was no real good art support at the time besides Kamamo. Like they probably knew Merlin was coming out, because I don't think he came out at the start of the game like 84. That is a lot, even if he's permanent. I might be wrong about that though. Yeah, no, he was not in the game at the start. I knew it. 84 is just way too high to be like part of the original roster, or they designed him at the start of the game. Doesn't his hit count doesn't look like they designed him at the start of the game though. His upstairs does not look like they designed him at the start of the game. Definitely like later in the life cycle. All right, that's enough of it about me ranting about Juna. Like his Zerk form is awesome. It's just like, why are they get like, and they just buff Karna. Why did they need to give this man the respect he deserves? Because like, yeah, he's part of the main story. Let's not forget, Arjuna is part of the main story. He's not a side event character. All right, see you guys. Peace.
Thank you for making it to the end of this video. If you enjoyed, drop a like or sub. Hope to see you in the next one. Peace.